I would like to welcome everybody to our Q&A session for Workforce Development Training Fund. We do have a number of people registered, so we'll give them just a few more minutes for everybody to get in. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining us. My name is Sharon Geisler. I'm the Program Manager for Workforce Development Training Fund. And I'm confident that most of you are here wanting to learn a little bit more about our program and its reopening and what that might look like. So I imagine most of our time is going to go towards that component. I do want to go ahead and still try and give a high-level overview of the different grants that we're able to offer, and then go over some of the new parameters that have been that are going to be put in place for our reopening. And then I am hoping that we will certainly have time for Q&A at the end to give you all opportunities to ask your questions. I did want to let you know that everything that I'm going to be covering, we will be putting on our website. My hope was that it was going to be up and available to view today. And that is still the plan, that it will be up on our website today, but it'll probably be a little bit later this afternoon. We are still doing the final stages of working through all of the components that we need to do in order to reopen. But we will have everything posted. So feel free to certainly take notes. But like I said, we will have this information up on our website, hopefully by the end of the day today. My name is Sharon Geisler, and the program manager. I also have Brittany Huffman on here, as well as other members of my team. We have a small and mighty team that run the Workforce Development Training Program and review the applications. And so we have been working diligently since we did pause the program a month ago, just to look at what we had available, what had been obligated, what was being used. And we really just had to take a step back and take a look at everything from a big picture point of view so that we could just stay fiscally responsible through the rest of this biennium. And then, as most of you are aware, this is a program that does continue on a regular basis and will certainly continue through additional bienniums, but we just wanted to really make sure that we needed to do what we had to do for the rest of this biennium. I did want to let you know that I'm going to be reading some of the things that we're going to be talking about, just because, like I said, we have been working through all of the details. And it is going to be going up on our website, but I do want to make sure that I'm sharing the information appropriately and in the best format, in order of understanding. And then if you guys do have any questions, you can certainly put them in the chat as we go along. And then the time that we have at the end, I want to be able to address your specific questions. Probably what everybody's waiting to hear is, are we going to be reopening? And yes, the answer will be that we are planning on opening next week, Monday, May 1st. And in this scenario, we're going to be opening the business training grant and the internship grants next week. Those have been our most popular grants that have been used during the time that we had the higher funding availabilities. And so we are going to reopen to those two grants in May. And then we will be reopening the pre-hire, the apprenticeship, and the pre-obligation grants in June. We are going to have a window of application submission going forward. And right now we're going to be opening the first week of each month. And we have nailed that down to be the first 7 days of each month, because we know that some months open in the middle of a week. So just to make it as clear as we can, the first 7 days of each month, we will have an open window to accept applications. Business training grants will still be submitted through the grant management system that we have available on our website. Businesses will still need to have an account set up prior to being able to do any applications. And so we have been accepting new account registrations during this pause in order to get businesses set up to be successful and able to do an application. And then the internship grant will have a link on our website in order to submit an application for the internship grant, and that will be available next week as well. We will be accepting, like I said, applications those first 7 days. And then if anything is submitted after that time frame, we will not be reviewing those. We do have a limited amount per month that we're going to be able to obligate towards our grants. And so that's why we're going to be shutting it down after that first week, so that we can look at everything that's come in. We can look at what's being asked for and make sure all of the applications are complete and have all of the supporting documentation that's provided. And then we'll be able to review those and make a determination on what we're going to be able to approve. Unfortunately, we will not be able to approve all of the applications that are going to be submitted. We would like to put it out there that if your application gets denied due to the funding limitations and everything is in your application and you have training that could still potentially be available further out, then you could possibly reapply the following month if it still fits your needs and still fits all the parameters of the grant. So I did want to also let everybody know that we still have the rules in place for each of the grants, and those rules are currently stating the maximum amount of information that can be in there. For example, the maximum amount that can be approved, maximum hours that can be approved, things like that, that the rules are still going to state, because we do have to go through a rule change to update that information, and that does take time. And so what we did is we're taking those maximum amounts and we are reducing them to put new parameters around the grants, but we just haven't been able to go and make official rule changes yet, which we will be doing. And so I know some people will look at the rules and say, well, the rules say you can reimburse up to this amount, but the application is not letting us ask for that amount. So the parameters, the new parameters that we're putting in place around the grants are what are going to take precedence over the numbers that are in the rules. I did want to just let you know that, and that will be posted on our website as well. We are certainly going to consider applications that are complete with the supporting documentation. If there are things that are missing or it does not have everything, it will not be initially reviewed. If we are able to and we still have funding available, we could potentially send it back to you and ask you for revisions. But at this point in time, the ones that we're going to be looking at are ones that are fully completed. We are still looking at preferred industries as one of the components of accepting and reviewing and potentially approving applications. It does not mean that if you're not in a preferred industry that you're not going to be considered. So I just wanted to make sure that you know that while we are giving preference to those preferred industries, it doesn't mean that you're completely eliminated if you're not in one of those. A component in order to apply and be considered complete is the business does have to be in good standing with unemployment insurance, workers' compensation, and the Secretary of State prior to the application being submitted. So if you've just recently registered and it's still pending, it most likely won't be reviewed as one of the first applications coming through. So we are looking for businesses that we're able to verify right off the bat that they're in good standing. We do anticipate a heavy influx of applications. And so if you do submit your application, typically you get a response that it's been received. We would ask that you at least wait at least 2 weeks before, if you haven't heard anything from any of my team members, you can send us an email and ask about the status. But we are anticipating a pretty heavy workload that first week of the month as applications are being submitted. And so we'll respond as quickly as we're able to let you know whether your application has been approved or not. So if you could just give us probably at least that first 2 weeks for us to work through that before you try and figure out what that status is, that would be very helpful. We will be accepting, I think I said that we're going to be accepting the apprenticeship grant, the pre-hire grant, and the pre-obligation grant in June. During those first 7 days, we really want to focus on internship and business training grants during May. And let's see, some of the questions that you'll be wanting to know. With the business training grants, the amounts that were previously approved for preferred industries, your trainees were eligible for, they are now going to be eligible for up to $3,000 per state fiscal year. And if you are in a non-preferred industry, your trainees are going to be eligible for up to $2,000. Your business overall will be eligible for up to $75,000 per state fiscal year. And that total amount for the business, we're going to be able to make that active as of the 1st of July, which is the first of the fiscal year. We will be making the adjustments to the trainee caps as of May 1st when we open on Monday. Let's see. For I'm just going to kind of run through the highlights right now. For the internship grants, we are going to be able to reimburse up to $18 an hour for the interns. You're certainly welcome to pay more than that, but we are looking at a maximum of 18. We will ask still for supporting documentation for the role that the intern is going to be hired for. And we are also looking a little bit closer at that wage. And considering that the internship opportunity is structured to be a learning experiential opportunity for someone exploring that industry and that role, we would be looking for you to be setting a wage that's probably on the lower end of that average wage scale for that job opportunity. Because it really is an internship, it's a learning opportunity, somebody who's just coming in and exploring, not somebody who's actually filling a role within your company serving as an employee. So we just want to make sure that you understand that we'll be looking at that wage request and that it fits the role of an intern. We're going to be able to reimburse for up to 480 hours in an internship. That gives you about 12 weeks if that intern is working full-time, 40 hours a week. If you're anticipating that they're going to work part-time, you can ask for that internship opportunity to go no more than 6 months. And so really it's that window of 3 to 6 month time frame that you'll be able to have an intern under this grant. We had a lot of questions previously about whether if an intern wasn't working out and they left on their own or they were asked to leave, if they could replace that intern. My comment on that is if there's enough available hours in that internship that makes sense for that person to come on board and still get a work experience and still be of help to you as a business, you can certainly replace that intern. The one thing that we'll be certainly looking at a little bit closer is that intern, even if they come in later in the internship, they're not going to be able to roll over into a second internship just to try and get more hours. It is a hugely popular grant, and we want to make sure as many individuals can get supported as best we can. And so we're looking at the interns that are being placed in these roles under this grant and not usually allowing that intern to be covered under a second grant later on. So if you do bring somebody in halfway through the internship and they say, well, oh, well, they didn't get a lot of hours, they didn't get a lot of experience. We understand and we get it, but to try and roll them into another internship right after that to still be covered under a grant, we'll be looking at that a lot closer, and that's typically not going to be eligible. We will be communicating once we have an opportunity to go through all the applications that were submitted and we're able to approve them. We will communicate either through email for the internship grant or through the business training grant message center. And so you'll want to make sure that you do keep an eye on your emails for that approval. Once we've closed that window, we'll have a chance to look at the applications that were submitted. If your application wasn't approved during that time, we will be sending an email letting you know that it was denied, either because there was something missing and needed to be fixed, or if it was just due to lack of funding. So we will let everybody know the status of their application once we've had a chance to go through everything. I'm just kind of going through the things that we have talked about and put in place. I am going to ask Brittany that if I have forgotten anything or want to bring something up, I want to make sure that we do cover that. The business training grants, really for all of the grants, we still need that time to review those applications, get it into contract, get it executed before the training starts. And so that 30-day window of a minimum time frame for the business training grants is still a component. The grant system will not accept applications if it's less than 30 days before the training starts. And so that is still a hard stop for applications. So you'll be wanting to look at training that's at least out into June in order to be able to apply on Monday, which is May 1st. We do still need similar timeframes for the internship grant. That start date of the intern has a little bit more flexibility because I know a lot of businesses are wanting to get their interns started in May. So one of the parameters around the acceptance of the internship application is that your intern is not hired any earlier than a month before you submit your application, and will need to be hired within 2 months of your contract being executed if you get approved. This is really for us to be able to ensure that if we're obligating this funding, that we know that you're going to be able to use it. And if you're having trouble finding an intern, or you end up not needing that internship opportunity and you're not going to use that funding, that we can give that to somebody else. And so we're really taking a closer look at that. For the internship grants, existing employees are not eligible. They do need to be newly hired employees that are hired specifically for that internship opportunity. But you do have that little bit of flexibility of getting them started a little sooner than that 30-day time frame. But also, if you're hiring your intern with the possibility that the application may not be able to be approved just due to our limited funding that we have now. I just want to make sure that we're going over some things that I know that are probably on everybody's list of questions.
So one question that came up is the application and rules going to be posted before May 1st, but we can't submit until then?
Right. So like I said, we're going to get all this information up. My goal is to have it up by the end of the day today, so that everybody has a good understanding of what the new parameters are going to look like, so that you can start working on those applications, so that you can, if you're ready, be able to submit them Monday, May 1st.
And then another question, is the application the same?
So the internship application is a Google form that we had created. We have made a few changes to that application to support the new parameters that we're putting in place. And so the majority of it will be familiar if you have gone in there before and done an application, but you'll notice that there probably will be a few changes to it. The BTG application that will also have a few minor adjustments to it. I think there's going to be a few additional questions that we've added, a few components to the final report that we've added. So there are some slight changes to both grants in regards to the application.
And then another question, how does the training dates then affect applications that were submitted prior to the shutdown of acceptance of application and was in limbo being approved?
So because we weren't sure what was going to happen, we did rescind all of the applications that were submitted and under review at the time of the pause. And so I completely recognize the frustration that some of you are probably experiencing for training that did occur in May. We didn't have any other option. And at this point, all new applications will have to be submitted for training that's at least 30 days out. Any other questions in the chat? There's another component while she's looking. We are also being a little bit more diligent in the internship grant, looking at the mentors that are being assigned to the interns. We are putting some parameters around each intern will need to have an assigned mentor that has professional education and experience in the area of the internship, and so that they are available to give that intern that well-rounded work experience and have that experience to share with them. And we are limiting the mentors to not more than 2 interns at a time.
And Sharon, I'm sorry if you already said this, I was answering questions and stuff. Did you go over the new limits for BTG?
Yes, but I'll go ahead and go over it again because I know some people were joining us as we were going through that. So for the business training grants, if you are in a preferred industry, your trainees will have a cap of up to $3,000 for their state fiscal year. And then if you're in a non-preferred industry, your employees and owners of the business, employees of the business will have a cap of up to $2,000 per state fiscal year.
And then another question came in, are applications submitted online? Also, should application be submitted via email or regular mail?
Great question. We, everybody knows, the business training grant is online and all applications have to be done through the grant system for business training grants. The internship grant will have a Google application form that is online that you can access. We'll have the link for that on our website for Monday. And that is the only form that we'll be accepting. So any other PDF that was previous versions, anything emailed to us, we will not be accepting those. They do need to go through the link on the website. When we open for the pre-hire grant and the apprenticeship and the pre-obligation, those will also be Google Forms links that will be accessible through the website.
And then how long on average will I have to wait to know if I'm accepted into the internship grant on average?
So as I indicated, our team does have to review all the applications and make sure everything is there. And if it's everything is eligible and we have everything we need, we'll go ahead and send out approval emails. And so it could be anywhere as early as 2 weeks up to 30 days. So we're letting everybody know to plan on at least 30 days for the whole process to take place. Our goal is to have that first week of accepting applications and then get them reviewed and approved, and hopefully at least be notified before the end of May. It just really depends on the volume of applications that are coming in and how quickly we're able to get through them and which ones we're able to approve.
Let's see. Going back to the applications that were submitted right before the grant was closed, if I submitted an internship application right before it closed, will I have to submit a brand new application? The internship program may fall before that 30-day start period now, but I want to make sure that it would be accepted since it had previously been submitted in March.
So with the internships, like I said, we have a little bit more flexibility on that start date. Yes, new application will have to be submitted because there are new parameters around the wage and the hours that are eligible. And, oh, that was another thing. We are reducing the number from 6 to 3. And so businesses are eligible for up to 3 internships. And so, yes, a new application will need to be submitted so that it all fits under the new parameters. And then it will be reviewed in the order of, not in the order of, but we're going to look at all the applications that are being submitted. I know if you had submitted one before the pause, we're not necessarily giving priority to that. We're looking at everything brand new, what comes in beginning May 1st.
And then somebody's asking if you could go through the options opening June 1st, slower. Can't hear them to capture what they will be.
Sure. So business, workforce development training fund has 5 grants: the business training grant, the internship grant, the pre-hire economic development grant, the apprenticeship grant, and the pre-obligation grant. In May, we're going to accept business training grants and internship grants that first week of May, that first 7 days. In June, the first 7 days of June, we will then accept all 5 of those grants. And so we're adding apprenticeship, pre-hire, and pre-obligation to all of the applications that we'll be accepting in June. We're just allowing May to give us this a soft start, if you will, to accept the 2 grants. If we need to do any tweaking or any adjustments to our process, May is going to help us work through that, and then we'll continue updating our website for what to expect for the June window of opportunity to accept those applications. We're anticipating to be able to open each month, those first 7 days of each month, to accept new applications for ongoing grants, and then just basically be able to accept it based on what the funding availability is.
Okay, and then a couple more internship questions. Will companies that do not ask for the high end $18 an hour be more likely to get accepted? And am I allowed to submit multiple forms for different companies?
The person of each business that is in a position to be a primary contact or a signatory contact of that business should be the one submitting applications. In the past, we have had a situation where an individual was acting as a representative of a business and was submitting applications on their behalf. We are asking that a representative of that business be the applicant. The wage request that's being asked for the internship opportunity does not give it precedence over being looked at or accepted at this point, no.
And then another one, we hired an intern April 10th, and originally we submitted the application before he started. If we submit it again on May 1st, can we still be eligible for funding?
He was hired April 10th.
Yes.
And if the submission comes in that first week of May, then he will meet the eligibility parameters that he was hired no more than a month prior to the submission of the application. So that looks like it should still meet the eligibility components.
And he was hired for the purpose of the internship grant or
And
the
that
internship opportunity.
Yeah, and if you could explain that in the application, that would add to the weight of your application.
And then somebody is asking what pre-obligation grants are.
Okay, yeah. And so what I can do is, that is information that we do have on our website that is still current. So I'll do a quick share. Are you guys able to see my screen? Okay. So on our website, the quickest way to get to this is if you just type in dws.wyo.gov, that takes you to the main Department of Workforce Service website. And then if you just scroll down a little bit, you'll see that we have the Workforce Development Training Fund right here. You are certainly welcome to go there now and go ahead and get a little bit of information about the different grants. because the essence of the grant has really not changed. Just some of the parameters of what we're able to reimburse and things like that is what we're really had to go back and reduce to be able to be fiscally responsible. But once you get to this spot, this is the information that we will be updating with those new parameters that we just talked about. And then we will continue to have Q&A sessions to help people understand the different grants. I am going to have another one this Friday at 2:00. And so you're certainly welcome to come back. You're certainly welcome to let anybody else know that this is available. And then as you scroll a little further down, it just gives you some more general information about our program. It also lets you know the industries that are the preferred industries to help you understand that component. And then we have a main phone number here for you to call and a main email address here for you to use. So,
And I did include just now the main email address for general questions and inquiries, and then the specific internship email address for internship specific questions and inquiries.
thank you so much. So once you from this landing page, you can click on any of these links over here for the specific grant that you're looking for more information about. And so, like I said, each of these grants will give you a general summary of the intent of this grant and what it's meant for and who can use it. So that information is still there. In regards to the apprenticeship grant, Ivy Moore is our contact to help you with that grant. And I'm also available to help you with that. And then you'll notice that this is the link where normally we would have the application for you to be able to get to apply. This is what we will update in June for the apprenticeship grant. And then there's some information here for the things that you'll need once you've been awarded the grant and need to do your final report. And the rules are also posted here. Same thing with business training grant. We are currently updating this to make sure that all of the text that's in here will reflect the new parameters that we're going to be implementing. And so right now this is dated, but this is where you can go to get the information for the business training grant. We'll also have some frequently asked questions for you to look at and some helpful hints to help you through this process. Anybody on my team is also available to help you through this process. And so if you use that general email to reach out, we will certainly get back with you and help you with that. The same with the internship grant. This is also being revised to make sure that the information that's going to be on here is going to be current and accurate. This is also where you will be able to go to find the link to get to the application on Monday. In regards to the pre-obligation grant you had asked about, it's here on this page. We have a pre-hire economic development grant that is available to help businesses that need to build a workforce with a skill set that doesn't currently exist for them to hire. So they reach out to a training provider to be able to provide that training with the intent that when those trainees finish that training, they can then be hired by those businesses to help to add to their workforce because there's a skill set that they didn't originally have. For example, CNA license or a CDL license or other type of training that people need to have that skill set before you can even hire them. The pre-obligation grant that somebody was asking about is a grant that has been developed to help economic development entities here in Wyoming that have been working with businesses either to get them to move to Wyoming or are expanding in Wyoming and they need to build their workforce, either the skill set or just to be able to have new skills developed for them to be able to hire them. So the pre-obligation grant can look at either using the business training grant or the pre-hire to build that workforce to help those businesses when they come into Wyoming and then they need to hire people or they're expanding. And basically what you would be applying for is for us to pre-obligate some funding for your needs that would then not be used towards any of the other grants. And so the information here helps you with that. This dollar amount is going to be changed to match the new dollar amount that the business training grants will be able to reimburse. And so we'll be updating this number as well. It gives you a little bit of a formula of how much you'll be able to ask for to pre-obligate. And again, the link will be here next month for you to be able to apply if that's the right grant for you. What other questions do we have? These are all really great questions. Oh, let me walk you through ONET really quick since we're here. That is the supporting documentation that we'll need for the internship grant. And so basically, let's see if I can get to it. It's really just if you do O*Net. This is an online service that Wyoming provides that basically is our labor market research that helps us understand the jobs that are here in Wyoming and what that average wage and job looks like. And there's so many other details that are in here. I'll put this, or Brittany, if you would have a chance to add that to the chat, that would be great. This is where you could go to get your initial thoughts around the internship opportunity that you want to host and what is a reasonable wage that you could potentially pay. And so let's just say, for example, we want to have a bookkeeping account internship. So you can go up here to this keyword search and put in bookkeeping. And what it will do is it will give you a whole list of things that may fit into that category. And you could look through these descriptions to see which of these best fits what I want to offer as an internship opportunity. And let's just say for this example, I go here to this link, bookkeeping, accounting, and auditing clerks. And then you would want to look through some of the tasks that that person would typically fill. Now, keep in mind, ONET is providing description of an employee filling that role. Keep in mind that an intern is not going to be working as your employee for this purpose. They're coming to learn and would be learning under somebody who could teach them or expose them to the bookkeeping industry, but you're not hiring them to fill that role. So even though it does go along with most of the tasks that this person would be learning about, they're not going to come in to do that job. And so it just gives you a general sense, is this really what I'm thinking that I want to expose my intern to? And if it is, you'll go on down towards where you hit your wages. And then this situation, we're going to go ahead and select Wyoming because we do want to have Wyoming information. And if you hit go, it will give you an hourly view and it will give you an annual view. We want to select hourly because the interns are going to be reimbursed on an hourly basis for the time that they're giving to your business. Your pay stubs, and they do need to be hired as employees. Your pay stubs will reflect how many hours they worked during a pay period and the wage that you're paying them. For this particular role, that average wage is 18, the low end is 11. And again, because we do look at this as a learning opportunity for somebody to come in and experience this role in this industry, you're not hiring them as an employee to be your bookkeeper. They're coming in to learn about being a bookkeeper. We would anticipate that the wage being asked for this internship would be in this lower end. And then we would need to have your explanation of that wage and why you think it's appropriate. If you were to ask for a wage of $28 for this, we're most likely not going to approve it. And so we're going to be looking at this range here of what's an appropriate wage for this internship role. And then we'll let you know what we're able to reimburse. If you need to pay them more than that, you're certainly welcome to do so. What you would want to do is take a screenshot of this to where it includes the information about it being in Wyoming. It includes the role of the intern, and then it includes the hourly bell curve of this information. And you can take a screenshot of this, save it, and then you would upload this as your supporting documentation for that internship opportunity. What other questions do I have?
So there's a question, are you still accepting current internship reimbursement requests and final reports, or do we need to submit those in May?
No, any active grants that have been approved and have been executed, you can submit internship reimbursement requests for that as normal. I do have a team that's working on those on a regular basis. It does remind me that previously we allowed a business to submit either monthly, quarterly, or at the end of the internship. And we learned that that really just was not working out very well in learning what was being used, of what was being obligated. And so we have changed one of those parameters, that the reimbursement request will need to be submitted at least on a monthly basis. We don't want one, if you pay on a weekly basis or every 2 weeks, we don't want one after every pay period, but we do want one at least on a monthly basis of what has been paid. And we have a form that you'll get once the contract has been executed, and you'll submit that form that's filled out with the pay stubs that support it, and then we'll reimburse on a regular basis. So really, if you're doing a 3-month internship because they're working 40 hours a week, we would expect to have at least 3 reimbursements take place during that time. If they're working part-time and you're going further out, we would still want it on a monthly basis to make sure that the paperwork's being done properly, that we can help you with that, that we have a better sense that the obligated funding is actually being used. And it just gives us a better sense of what's going on out there.
So somebody's been trying to clarify, basically if the application will be only available on May 1st. So to kind of clarify that a little bit more, because I have addressed it, but basically we will be posting the new link for the internship hopefully today. For the internship application, you should be able to go in there and look at it and start on it. You just won't be able to submit until May 1st. Is that correct?
Yeah. So we'll try and have those links up to date. At the very latest for the actual link of the application, like I said, we are doing some final adjustments. It might be available tomorrow. It will definitely be available this week for you to access and start working on. We will not be accepting any applications until May 1st and for the first 7 days of May. So if you submit it April 30th, please don't, because we're not going to look at it. We will only look at applications that are submitted in the first 7 days of May. If you submit it on May 8th, we will not look at it. And so that is a pretty hard window that we're going to work off of. And so, yes, you will have access to the application this week in order to get started on it over the weekend to be submitted on Monday, May 1st.
Except for business training grant. So that's so internship, yes, but business training grant, we will not open to allow applications submissions until May 1st. Okay, and then if a person has 2 businesses in the preferred industries, one newly registered with Secretary of State, can the owner submit applications for both?
So an application will have to be submitted for each business. Each application has to have its own FEIN number associated with the business that is applying. So even if you own 2 different businesses, you have 2 different FEINs, you will need to submit 2 separate applications for each of those businesses for their own internship opportunities that you're wanting to host. That is another piece that we've also learned, is that we do have a lot of business owners here in Wyoming that have more than one business. If you, as the business owner, are a mentor to one of those interns, you can only have 2 interns, even if you have more businesses. I guess what I'm trying to say is not just 2 interns of that business and then 2 interns of the other business. If you are mentoring an intern, you're limited to 2, regardless of how many businesses you have. Hopefully that comes across clear.
And then another clarification that a couple people are wanting is 3 internships per fiscal year, not at one time. It doesn't necessarily have to be at one time, 3 internships per fiscal year.
Right, and so we balanced that a little bit last time when we had up to 6. So you can certainly ask for all 3 in one application if that's your situation and you want to have all 3 of your interns happening at the same time. If you feel you only want one right now and you run it for the 480 hours that you're eligible, and then later in the year you want to host another one for another 480, then you can do another application later in the year for that next internship. We do keep track of how many your business has received in a fiscal year, whether it's all in one application or you space it out across the year, that's fine. And so you have some flexibility of when you want to utilize those 3 internship opportunities.
And this kind of goes into the next question, just maybe clarifying a little bit more. Before, when an internship spanned 2 fiscal years, it counted as one internship in each. Is this still the case?
Yes. So for example, we're getting to the end of this fiscal year 23. And let's just say that you asked to have an intern start in June. We would be calculating that internship as your fiscal year that it started this year, but it extends into the next fiscal year. And so then you, even after July, when you're into fiscal year 24, you still can only apply for 2 more because you have one active one going right now. Hopefully that makes sense.
John, did that answer your question? Okay, he said yeah.
We appreciate all you on asking these questions because, like I said, we are finalizing all of those little details, and what you're asking and what you're wondering about helps us know what we want to make sure that we have posted so that this information is available for you to be able to read and be prepared ahead of time. So thank you for all these questions, because we do want to make sure, and I feel like we've addressed most of them. I think we have to go back and add a few more just to make sure that we are helping you out as much as possible so that you can be prepared. So thank you for that.
One question that I answered directly, and I'm not sure how this works, if everybody can see it, but can nonprofit organizations apply for this training grant?
Yes. So yes, technically nonprofits are eligible to apply. We do look at those pretty closely because there are components where sometimes a nonprofit might be considered quasi-governmental or they're funded through a government agency. We really look at who is the entity that's paying the intern. They cannot be governmental in any way. And if the organization itself is quasi-governmental, or any type of political affiliation or political connection, then they would not be eligible. So we do look at the nonprofits and make sure that those components have been addressed.
And I think Town Opal just asked, is the internship available to local government? So I think that might have answered that question.
Yeah, so local government, city, county, all of the government entities are not eligible for the internship grant or business training grant. We have some exceptions, county memorial hospitals and emergency medical service providers. If they are under a government entity, they could apply because we do have some exceptions written in the rules for them, but any other government entity is not eligible.
And then another one, just to clarify, applications are not approved by the order received. It is by preference businesses and application completion, correct?
Correct.
Do any of the grants apply to local government?
So the apprenticeship grant, because a registered apprenticeship program can be a government entity, for example, a police department or a fire department, there's a teacher apprenticeship that incorporates that. Because they are determined by a registered apprenticeship program and approved through the Office of Apprenticeship, if they're approvable under that aspect, then yes, they're eligible for the apprenticeship grant, because they do need to be a registered apprenticeship program in order to apply for the Workforce Development Training Fund. And so that's the only grant that is open to government entities.
Okay, and then I was previously told to request an extension for one of our internship grants in April, as it was originally set to expire in April. Will I be able to request that extension still?
No, we were not able to extend any of the grants that are currently executed. We were looking at our funding and the amount that was obligated. We calculated for the time that it was originally set for. And unfortunately, we were not able to extend any of those grants at that time. You're certainly welcome to entertain the idea of hosting a new internship opportunity for a new individual, and we would encourage you to do that, but we were not able to extend the ones that were ending in April.
Okay, and then somebody asked, what are the preferred industries for the grant? And I have linked the website, the main landing page link in the chat, so you can find the preferred industries listed there. But just to verbally tell you, it's construction, finance and insurance, healthcare and social assistance, manufacturing, technology, and hospitality and tourism. So those are the 6 preferred industries. And please let me know if I missed anybody's questions. I think I either answered them directly or brought them to the group. So just let me know if I missed you.
And again, we're going to host this again on Friday at 2 o'clock. If you have some time to process this, want to go and take a look at the website, get some more questions, you're certainly welcome to re-register and join again on Friday. If there's anybody else that you want to let them know that we're doing this, I can pretty much guarantee you that by Friday, we will have all of the current information up on our website, and I'll be happy to walk everybody through the website from that point. And so I apologize that we didn't quite have it ready for you all to see. So I know that maybe some of the information I was sharing with you may not make sense until you see it on the website in written form. But if you do have any questions after this and you want to follow up with an email, please feel free. We will be happy to get back with you either on a call or respond to your emails. And we are recording this, and so we will have this posted on our website as well for you to go back and revisit if you feel that you would like to hear it again.
Thank you guys for your time.
You are very welcome. Thank you for participating. All right, thank you everybody so much, and we'll go ahead and give you a few minutes back to your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.